I'm bored. I'm at Carver Library. I haven't eaten breakfast today. And I'm on my period and I don't have money. Anyways, I'm here to check my inbox for if I received email. I mean, an email from PayPal stating that I received money to check my bank account. Because I bank with USA. For people to give me money. Okay, so starving a family origin. For the most part, they're all murderers, thieves, and rapists. That steal my homes, my vehicles, get in the way of me receiving money, steal my money. Trying to rape me, they're deplorable, they're so boring. Yeah. Cup or water. What else? I'm sick. I mean, a bottle for water. I'm seeking the death penalty for everyone that stays in my homes without my permission. I'm seeking the death penalty for everyone that steals my money. Seeking the death penalty for everyone that steals my vehicles. I'm seeking the death penalty for everyone that gets embarrassment. It's June 6, 2020. Yeah. I'm gonna read this. In the meantime, I've been laughing at these people. Yo, like Jennifer Bonilla, the illegal prostitutes trying to rape me. Y se quedó en mi casa sin mi permiso y me robó mi vehículo. Y me robó mi dinero and gets in the way of me receiving money. I've been laughing at them for 6 years at least. Do they think that I'm gonna show up in group chats to confirm or move near where she is to talk to her about me being poor? Son unas asquerosidades. They rape and they steal money and they prostitute themselves illegally to pretend that they're polyamorous, like que tienen un macho y una hembra en cada esquina. Da un asco. They're disgusting still in 2025. Ew, 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 ew. Ew, they're disgusting. Who's gifting me money today? Dan un asco. I'm gonna stop dating people when I'm financially stable. They're deplorable. Esa tipa debe estar muerta ya. I want Jennifer Bonilla to kill herself today. It's so close to. I just didn't remember why I don't ever think about them. They're in my home. They're disgusting. Ew, ew, ew. Ew, ese tipo es un puerco. In the meantime, I want to dine at Paisanos. I haven't been there since 2023. What else? They want me to disclose that I'm a rape victim for my next husband. So, cuando me estés mamando a teta, ellos creen que él va a estar pensando en ellos que me violaron. El tipo puerco me pasó. Una asquerosidad. So I went from posting pictures of outings with Jada and Kehlani sometimes to having to post this shit porque se cree que now I'm a recheck at places. He's a nobody. He's just un pendejo that I met decades ago at an orgy. Then my parents took me and is obsessed with me. Una basura, steals from me, wants to rape me, has drugged me and raped me. He's disgusting. Loco, puerco, basura. Ew. I didn't know that when I got on his dick. So my parents stopped taking me to orgies around 2 and 3, unless they drugged me. And I attended. I'm saving my fork for later. I'm getting water. My cup for the day. To get water on the water fountain. Anyways, I'm seeking the death penalty for Benjamin's Suarez sons that rape me, that steal my money, that get in the way of me receiving money. They're deplorable. They're subgrounds. They've had people rape me. They steal my money. They steal my homes. They steal my vehicles. And then they want to traffic me into being a legal prostitute like these people. They're disgusting. They're so gross. They're deplorable. Ew. No, solo no quiero ser. What else? They're disgusting. Ew, they try to traffic me into jobs that I don't want. They mock sapiosexual people. They mock polyamorous people. So steal her money, send her to work, and then jerk off to. She was like, yeah. She was like, yeah. She was like, yeah. So una basura is what I've heard decades ago. Decades ago when I witnessed this type of abuse onto some people. So that's why I don't even waste my time talking to these people. They're deplorable. They're so gross. Ew. They're stupid. I don't see that. Ew. So una puerca y una puerco. I don't ever want that near me. I'm overwhelmed though. I need to kill like 200 pictures alone for causing Jada and Kehlani to be separated from me. A lot of people that I don't ever think about. So I'm asking the FBI home from me for getting in the way of me receiving those. They're gonna be the hot girl on Tinder. I look so good in those videos. So I don't need to talk to them and be like, what do you think about this? They're disgusting. They killed Gloria Mirza trying to get a conversation with me. They're deplorable. They're so gross. The sons ever. Ew. So that's asco. Que asco. Ew. Él se cree que yo le voy a sacar una cita nunca. Fu, ew. Él se casó conmigo en su mente y está enojado porque yo no le cociné el otro día a veces. Ew, ew, son unos brutos, no puedo. Ew, y se lo ha dicho múltiples veces. Ella no, aunque se hubiera casado conmigo. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. Dan un asco, dan un asco. And I paisanos later who's gifting me money. What else? What else? What else? In the meantime, it's like Jennifer's the it girl that knows how to eat with a fork. Like for real, he's like 0 years old. For real, he gets impressed over someone eating with a fork. Ew, da un asco. Da un asco. They're just testings. Con dinero que me roban, con casa que me roban, con vehículos que me roban, son unos puercos asquerosos. I don't ever want them in my life to for all steal my vehicles and get in the way of me receiving money. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Possibly. Because they have like a routine that they're like, if she's a single mother and we steal her money, then the first thing that we ask from her es una foto del o ella bailando desnuda o ella bailando requirements of whoever they take hostage of what they request from those people. So they're possibly all comparing. They're like, when are we getting our video of her showering or the picture of her culo? We cause her to lose her kids and not have money. I need to know. That's how they speak decades ago. They're disgusting. What? What else? What else? What else? What else? Dan un asco. They're deplorable. They're so gross. Ew, ew, ew. I feel so bad for those that fall for that. Some people say, whatever, I'm gonna get it over with. I won't get sent to Lasma if I do that. They already know their routine. So they're like, if I do that, I won't get cancels. If I do that, I won't get sent to Lasma. So they're like, they get a close relative. They're like, just whatever else friend my knuckles right here for you to take the picture. And I've heard them be like, no, 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 no. It has to be me that takes the picture. Not someone that you're comfortable with. Ew, ew. So they're waiting for videos of me showering, possibly videos of me masturbating, possibly videos of me dancing naked for them. Some of us go, they're disgusting. They're disgusting. They're so outdated with their abuse. They killed my mother trying to get a conversation from me. They're deplorable. Esta gente son unos puercos, una puerca. Son una basura, una atrocidad. Ew, ew. Oh, all those posts that I typed yesterday, I don't think I've posts. Connected my phone to the Wi-Fi. You can decapitate Richie Hill that raped me in 2023. What else? What else? He purposely trafficked me into starvation to rape me. I didn't like him when he was a teen. I was like, Yesenia, y tú no me prestas atención. Foda un asco. They try to force relationships. They're so disgusting. They don't wait for the right moment. They don't wait for an invite. My sibling just sent me a steal from me and get in the way of me receive money and then get the praise from whoever I think would have been husband material from me. Es bruto. is brutal. That's what they. That's the attention that Evelyn and Jasenia want to be like, se lo quité. So he's like, I'm having a better time with your sister and with Jasenia. Anyways, the people that rape him, ew. Damasco. So he was in his early teens the last time that he mentioned one of them. And I was like 19. And he could propose to me. No, he didn't. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? No, with how that proposal went. So he literally, like in a conversation with someone, said, "You could just traffic her to poverty. She'll, if she's in San Antonio, she'll possibly be HEB like her primas often, and then I'll just show up and I'll like rape her there. If anything, she's lucky. I'll get her like a social security apartment, and we can both pretend that we're homeless." Doesn't he have money to date me? What else? 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 Does he have the portion, my portion of the money to date him, and he uses it on illegal prostitutes? Kill him immediately. I don't want him in my life ever. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They're disgusting. Jimmy Jandaliris and Amaryllis Echevarria Gonzalez bragged decades ago that it's so easy to rape him because Jimmy Jandaliris and Suarez and Amaryllis Echevarria Gonzalez steal my money, stay in my homes without my permission, steal my vehicles, and get in the way of me receiving money. He was what, like 12 maybe when they said that. That day that he proposed to me. So that wasn't a proposal. What else? 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 Porque I don't like him. And as an adult, if you had my money for me to get out of a homeless shelter immediately into a hotel, into an apartment, have food right away, and I'll be crying still. But I'm hungry. Because they try to take one hostage. They're like, he can't handle competition. It's so stupid. And then they visit La India and they're like, I'm polyamorous with this. Tengo uno en Idaho, uno en California, uno en la India, tengo uno en Canadá, tengo tres en Tampa. We don't have sex together. They all happen to know almost about each other. And I never have any problems with them. I lean because they idolize me. They're so gross, those people that I grew up around. He's like, I want her to myself, but I really don't want her, so I'm just gonna kill her. Heard that his dad did the same thing. Is he alive in jail? He was beautiful. I thought that when this kid talked to me on the side of the street, it was his dad. And I'm like, oh, you're not killing me today. So I'm gonna put it in writing that you and I met. And it turned out to be that it was this kid. What else? 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 They're trying to act like Facebook doesn't exist, like phones don't exist. Oh, that's why I put it in writing. Porque I'm like mad. I'm like, if that I thought it was his dad. I haven't seen him in decades. So that was like the last memory. I don't remember about him specifically saying on a December 31st so that people would see that even if I was with Jorge Aviles, that on Jorge Aviles, if I found another man, I would be willing to be with him because I'm polyamorous. It's not like Jorge Aviles was attached to me that day if I was HIV by myself. So they live for creating examples. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So because I thought it was his dad and my mother, my dad know my phone number. I'm like, well, here's my phone number. Look, I didn't need to be trafficked into starvation for him to run into me HIV cuando yo estaba en HIV tantas veces anyways. I had been at the Southtown location many times already. The last time well with money like 2019. What else? 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 I'm born. They get raped by who's available and consider that an orgasm. They're deplorable. They treat family the worst. Trying to not get caught in a relationship so that they can find that girl in India still. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Anyways, I posted on Facebook. I typed it last night now that I have Wi-Fi on this phone. It's typing. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They're deplorable. They're so gross. They think that I'm gonna kill myself live on Facebook, but it's because it's something that I recommended since I was a. Porque he has a background story of un pendejo asqueroso que mata, roba y viola. So he doesn't want his image on Facebook ever. People talking about him on Facebook. He hates people getting educated because then he can't rate. What else? 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 They live for that shit. Maybe she'll kill herself live. That's why Richie doesn't give me my own money that I have to date him. Maybe she's gonna kill herself alive on Facebook one day. To either like dirty secrets, la illegal prostitute, no illegal prostitute. That's usually how they behave. I don't know how they acquire that behavior. It's not like natural to them being that gross. Yeah. What else? 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 Anyways, they're so gross. They're like, oh, with that last name, she's gonna want plastic surgery, steal her money. Porque tú te imaginas alguien con las bembas así, o las tetas así, plásticas, y que uno le haga así cuando la viola y sean duras. Así la habla decades ago. ¿Tú te acuerdas cuando le dejé 3 años before we started her? That's why I killed her. Ew, ew, ew. Literalmente mi nalga le da envidia. Or like my position, how I stand on. Ew, ew, ew. They're disgusting. Did I read someone got killed and called the cops like 40 times in 2 years and still got killed? Porque the cops, what they do is deter and they say, stop your stupid behavior. A cousin in India killed his cousin, shot her, a 17-year-old that's on TikTok. What else? 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 The cops can arrest someone. What else? What else? What else? Sometimes they just because it just creates more chaos inside of the. Oh, I can't post on Facebook for a while. What else? What else? What else? What else? So yeah, just block from posting on Facebook for a little bit. That's a lot of writing. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So basically, what the police says is like stop stealing from Arlene, stop getting in the way of Arlene's finances, and they don't stop. So I could like die of a heart attack today of starvation. They're like, oops, somebody else, we got away with it. They didn't like really get away with it. They were warned by police hundreds of times by now to stop stealing from one. They're deplorable. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. They want me to say to everyone that I'm a rape victim because if I go into dating, I'm being deceiving. So they're gonna stalk whoever I date and be like, Elaine's a rape victim. How's that relevant to me cooking for myself, dating Lonnie today, or shopping for myself, dating Lonnie? That doesn't change my relationship with my kids. They're disgusting. Basically, what they're trying to do is cause like a physical beating for one not letting them rape one. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. Ew, es un pastelito asqueroso. He shows up with the legal process and with this instead of you. He's trying to be great. Es un puerco. Yo no lo invité a mi vida. Ew. I was just at orgies when I was a kid. I'm like, this kid is like really pretty. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I didn't marry it. I didn't say mañana, but he wants to kill me because at 2 years old, I didn't say mañana. Cuando me levante la voy a cocinar algo. I have a right to decide when I see someone, even if I were married to someone, if he were in such a rush to have sex with me or spend time with me, he needed to create that pattern with me, not try to kill me and like get any hooker on top of him. He's disgusting. Ew, ew, ew. They're married people that don't see each other every day. Ew, ew, ew. And it's deplorable that he continues to go through with a hate crime porque posiblemente de Hawái chiquito fue a mal paso y se enamoró de alguien y said, oh, this is so easy. Now I know everything wrong that I did with Arlene, why I hate her. And then he continues with the hate crime towards me. Da un asco. Da un asco. I'm bored. Dan un asco. They talk behind the scenes. La Jennifer esa también. Asquerosidad. They're like, pues sabrá. I'm gonna take my kids shopping today. I'm gonna cook for myself today and Kehlani today. And they're in group chats con la prima o la tía. ¿Qué tú crees? Se habrá afeitado hoy, María. Se habrá afeitado. Se habrá afeitado. Ew, 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 ew. You can decapitate Jennifer Bonita. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez sons. That rape me, that steal my money, that get in the way of receiving money. That stay in my homes without my permission. You can decapitate everyone that steals from me. You can decapitate everyone that gets in the way of receiving money. You can decapitate everyone that steals my money. You can decapitate everyone that steals my vehicles. You can decapitate everyone that steals my money. You can decapitate everyone that's raped me. I'm a state, I'm a Lonnie. They wanted to get on to know the faces of the people I've raped me. Who? See, yo llevo Jaden and Lonnie a Taco Bell. I'm gonna be like, this chalupa so good. They wanna be talked about constantly, even if they're doing the wrong thing. They're disgusting. They're so gross. You can decapitate all these people, stay in my homes without my permission, steal my money, get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate all these people and stay in my homes without my permission, steal my money, steal my vehicles, and get in the way of me receiving money. They're legal prostitutes, they're so gross. They're a Garcias and cousin, and a very distant relative of my parents. My dad specifically. You can decapitate Cynthia Lorenzo, stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money, steals my money. You can decapitate Gustavo Cáceres. You can decapitate everyone that has caused my poverty, my starvation, trying to talk to me about my pubic hair, about si me hago las tetas o no. I have dinner that I want to cook for myself today, ideally, and I have Jada and Kehlani that I could be spending time with. These people are lazy and time wasters. They're so gross. You can decapitate Gustavo Cáceres. You can decapitate Gloria Margarita Cartagena. You can decapitate Sonia Alvarado Chapman. You can decapitate Amaryllis González Echevarria. You can decapitate Ramiro González that tried to traffic me into a job that I don't want just for me to be a sex slave. porque se queda en mi casa sin mi permiso, me roba mi dinero and gets in the way of me receiving money. Entonces, basurín, asquerosidad, suggested to him decades ago that he should run for office. How does that concern to me? Ew, I didn't want that to happen. I don't want this hate crime towards me. No one ever wants a hate crime towards them. These people that I grew up around are stupid. They're stupid. They're the worst that this planet has ever seen. Dan un asco, son una basura. Did my dad have this written decades? Ahora que saben leer. What else? 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 Work is called respect, darling. It's called respect. I'm like, how can they be so stupid? They be so dumb. They don't support the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. It's like it's called respect. Like I know. Ew, 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 ew. Have my family abortion violating all of my rights. They're so outdated in their reviews too. They're embarrassing. They're so gross. I want new Crocs. Speaking of outdated, porque eso es lo que ellos dicen. Yo prefiero quedarme sola que tener esa asquerosidad encima de mí. They're deplorable. Ellos se creen que dictate trends. I don't even go on to talk behind the scenes about me using Crocs and wanting to buy new ones porque me van a decir están pasadas de moda. Porque I've already stated that I wear Crocs and where's my Crocs budget? What else? What else? What else? What else? So they call it pasó de moda. Pasó de moda. ¿Cómo que va a pasar de moda? If Crocs, Mereta, are still being sold, what else? Second one. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. What are those ribbons? Those are pretty. Oh, and Kaylani is now a woman's size instead of a kid size or a teen size. Self over that. Separated from their mothers, from good mothers, just to be like, pasaron cuántos años y tú no le compraste ni una lapia a tu hija y a tu hijo por no quererte prostituir ilegalmente. Dan un asco. They steal my money, they steal my homes, they get in the way of me receiving money just to scold me. So un asco because I don't let them rape me. They're deplorable. They're so gross. Ew, ew, ew. When I'm financially stable, I plan to travel, plan and meet people ideally for the advancement of my nalgas decades ago. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? How is this relevant if I had dollars to apprehend them when the FBI wants to? Like it. This has been exposed already decades ago that they're deplorable. Ew, 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 ew. What are these covers? I want ribbons. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? That's cute. Oh, those laces instead. I like that color. Oh, I'm not showing this. Those beads are pretty. What else was so it's laces, but maybe I can just add ribbon to my own ribbon that I buy. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Did he steal my notions? Y se hizo una diadema. con mi felt y mi cinta y dijo, ya sé que mami, para contrataciones, mami me tiene realmente. They're that crazy. You can decapitate my mind, so the sons that rape me, to steal my money, that get in the way of your saving money. They have a bad habit of trafficking people into poverty, making them lose their apartment, which is something unnatural in life, unless one is a victim of you want to kill me. Then one puts one's belongings in storage. One can't pay for said belongings in storage, and he goes on to find out what storage unit it is. Madeline paid for part of la mudanza. So there, Madeline, ¿dónde es storage? Mientras le mama las tetas. Y él quiere casarse conmigo. Oh, nunca, amorfo. Ew, 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 ew. So she knew where the belongings are. I kept posting online, I can't pay for my storage unit belongings. Please give me money. While I was at the Holiday Inn provided by Haven for Hope in 2021. So the belongings went to auction. He has like everyone at auction there. He knows, hasn't he raped everyone here in the library? And you're like, oh, what else? 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 So he possibly got a hold of everything that was in storage. It was a TV and possibly some ribbons and felt. Not everything got to my storage unit. I couldn't pack. Él se cree literalmente que yo soy Barbie, que si él me quita mi libro, que yo voy a correr detrás de mi libro y hablar con él y dejar que él me viole. Perdí un libro, and when I can, I'll replace it for that activity, or that was a fun time that I had with my libro while I had it. I'm never talking to him. He's deplorable. He rapes. Ew, he's disgusting. He's been raping for more than 30 years. He stole my money to date him, gets in the way of me receiving money, and he's been raping for more than 30 years. Es una basura asquerosidad. I don't ever want that near me. Who's gifting me money? So my Crocs may have been in my vehicle that got repoed, but I think maybe it got the contents of that, or they just take it with the contents. I had a coat or a few coats there. Forget I was at a hotel provided by Haven for Hope that I couldn't bring in as much as I wanted to into the room. So I kept shoes and coats and art supplies in my vehicle. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? That I took a picture of. Those push pins. What else? And these. I don't like all the colors there. And there was Play-Doh. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I have siblings. They think that being a sibling is being like, no fair. So they could be eating the same food that one is, and they're like, no fair. She finished first. No fair. She left one grain of rice on the plate and I didn't. No fair. I'm having this popsicle and she's having an ice cream sandwich. They want to live for themselves y por uno también. Dan un asco, literally. They, para contrataciones ilegalmente, they're like, we'll be early. And they hire them. They're that deplorable. They're that disgusting. I don't ever want that near me. I'm so happy that I've never had it. For real. I've only had one significant other, and it's Edgar Munoz Carrero. That I have two babies with. I'm so excited. They turn out to be, Jada and Kehlani turn out to be everything that I imagined. What else? When I'm financially stable, I plan to travel. Just give to me money. I still have about 11 months left. I feel like it's honestly still I could cancel anytime if I have money and move somewhere else. They want to try to encasillarme that I'm a toddler. Esta cuero asquerosa. Yo lo voy a matar un día en self-defense. Stay. And he's a toddler. She's a woman. Yay! Pussy today. I didn't think I was gonna get dick in my pussy today. Darren Beer. Ew, I was gonna bring chips and everything. Probably forgot water in one of these. Let me go IGV. You can decapite Maria Luisa Rosa. You can decapite Jennifer Bonilla. Satifandang asco. Son una basura. Back then. Where's this picture? Él está como en la película de la novela. Estoy enojado con mi esposa. Estoy enojado. No, Alex. That's Alex porque Alex was like born way after. Estoy enojado con mi esposa Lynn, que hoy no pasó la noche conmigo. Mañana no me va a invitar a su casa. No va a hacer algo de comer. So he's like, so hey guys, my dick illegally. I'll give you Arlene's money. I'll pretend that you're Arlene. Cuando paso la mano por la cabeza, digo, ay, si tú fueras Arlene. Te invito a la casa mía con Arlene, te haces pasar por Arlene, porque yo estoy enojado con Arlene. Y Arlene no hace nada para que a mí se me quite el enojo este. Pagarme una cita. So, él me está tratando de matar porque yo no lo saco a una cita porque él lleva enojado conmigo since I was 2 and 3 years old. Porque yo no me quedé con él esa noche, porque yo no lo invité al otro día a mi casa, porque yo no cociné para él. None of those are requirements in a marriage, anyways. Specifically when one is polyamorous. It's like maybe I have you on my roster from when I was 16, take myself on a cruise, and I'll be like, okay, now I'll start taking you serious. You'd have to invite me, Cuatro. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Plus, my siblings made it difficult for me to entertain people in my bedroom, pero no Gloria Nirsa, porque Richie asked to stay the night with me and Gloria Nirsa asked Evelyn to stay in someone else's home, I think. Or my brother stayed in my brother's room. They shacked up that night together. That night I shared a room with my siblings. And that's why my dates didn't work out with them. Dan un asco, son una basura. So I'm not mad at him. I'm not angry. He doesn't exist to me. Ever. I don't have plans for him in my life. Ever. Pero él me está tratando de matar. Lleva ya más de 40 años enojado conmigo porque él se fue a la cama solo. Porque yo no cociné para él al otro día, porque no lo invité a una cita al otro día. Me the next day or whenever he needed to make the commitment, not me. And I would have accepted back then. I was just like thinking like I want to take a college class maybe. I want to travel by myself. All naked at 3. While they were all like sorting their rape life. I was in a bedroom. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot of this trouble. When I'm older, I ask for an au pair. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So he's trying to kill me because it's like that the guy was like 2 or 3 years old. De que yo no lo invité a una cita, de que no lo invité al otro día a comer, de que no durmió conmigo. Yeah. And then there's Alex que se apunta a ayudarlo con esa tarea. Que no, hombre, full. Ew, if that's Alex. They're disgusting. They're so gross. So this is their hobbies. Well, they're mad at me. And they want to remind me all the time that they have hobbies and stay in my home without my permission and steal from me. Porque he's angry. De que yo no me quedé durmiendo con él esa noche to dinner the next day or plan an activity right away. If he wanted to see me that quickly, he needed to make the connection with me. I don't ever think of anyone like, even with Edgar, I'm like, okay, we just had sex, but I didn't guarantee myself. Then the next morning, we would be like together, or by the afternoon without stress, too. But nothing is ever like guaranteed. A person can leave at any time a relationship or start a relationship at any time. What? I missed it. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Soy instead of me. Yo no pienso nunca en él. Before pensaba menos. O igual que ahora. Nada más para comentarle a la policía. I'm seeking the death penalty for him. And all of these people stay in my homes without my permission and steal my vehicles and get in the way of emergency money. He wants to belittle me and say you're still a toddler. They haven't had sex with me. Y mira todas estas mami zonga y papi zonga que me lo mamaron. Ew, dan asco. They're disgusting. So literally, el tipo da un asco. El tipo también, él está así. So where's me? No me ha llevado a una cita todavía, solo voy a matar. Ew. Ew. That's not a mirror. That's not husband material. That's not husband material. That's a terrorist. Well, that's what my dad said. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So, what are you thinking? That he's a terrorist? I'm like, that's the word. Ew. Full, so gross. Uno no se enoja con una persona así, full. Like, you have to make the connection. And he wants to brag possibly. It's like, after that, I've made so many connections. No, he hasn't. Es un cuero asqueroso. If he had made a connection, I wouldn't be starving. And my children would be separated from me. Someone at least already would have given me money. What else? Everyone in the planet unanimously apparently wants the death penalty for him. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I am bored. When I'm financially stable, I plan to travel the planet with people. Ideally, for investment. What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. Who's gifting me money today? I need money for food. I'm pounds. I don't like what I'm eating. My apartment is dirty y él se cree que yo lo voy a invitar a una cita. Así no se trata a la persona. He can't retaliate for me not taking him out on a date with my starvation, with violating my human rights, with me not having electricity, with him staying in my brand new homes without my permission, with him driving my brand new vehicles without my permission. Cuando digo que es un cuero asqueroso, es una basura. Él se está gratifying himself with an FJ Cruiser instead of me. or a PT Cruiser. It's like, wow, la primera en la isla, yo darle, yo lo tengo el link, no lo voy a manejar nunca. Están todas estas jevas encima de mí, like, papi. Si me llevas en ese carro, te mamo el pene esta noche, que tengo frente de pila.
That's all. I watched that and I guess get certificate.
What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. Who's gifting me money today? He's trying to traffic me into a wheelchair, trying to rape me in my parents' home. He's deplorable. Has all the worst ideas, and then disgusting. I don't ever want these people near me. They're disgusting. They've raped me. Possibly they've drugged me and raped me. They're deplorable. They're so gross as it is. I don't want to watch their videos if they drug me and rape me. They don't understand any concept. They're stupid. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. Who's gifting me money today? They're celebrating. I got 1 year. Possibly nos quedamos con Andrew. Nos quedamos con Albert. Nos quedamos con Ale. Nos quitó. No se fue con ella. En filita para el Grand Marnier run. Posiblemente. He said that already decades ago. Es like, yo llevo a la gente a celebrar el Grand Marnier cuando te quedas sin dinero. O you make it obvious que te robo el dinero. Or people make it obvious que te robo el dinero. Don Wasco, I'm never taking out a day off to kill himself. What else? He possibly has guns to people's heads. That they don't give me money. What else? What else? What else? What else? Well, I'm hungry. That's not what I want to eat. What else? 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 I'm bored. Who's gifting me money today? I think I've been here once at least. But when I know like that's where they frequent these asquerosidades, I'm like, I'm not gonna be there. Una vez what was the Riverside bar? You know, they just walked up to me and said, "Can you leave? I'm here with people that I entertain in your home illegally, and you can kill us all in self-defense." And I said, "I'm not here for you." So I stayed. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Y él se cree que yo lo voy a sacar una cita. Yo quiero que él se mate. Da un asco. Ew, ew, ew. Es una basura. That was decades ago. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Is that place still open? What else? What else? What else? Oh, it seems like that's the same one. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. Who's gifting me money today? Oh, I didn't even look to see who it was. Soros. Who's gifting me money today? What else? We're gonna watch this. Oh, my birthday's on the 19th. I wonder why I was on my birthday. What else? What else? I'm born.
Oh, you good?
What else? Who's gifting me money? What is this? I don't remember a lot of this. Or the location. Oh, it's her birthday. Aslında sarı-ish. What else? 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 So I know where that is. Coloso, está en Puebla. What's the landmark before? Sometimes there's like a gas station. I don't know what the Salon Videos is. Just, yeah. I think I've seen it in person. I haven't been to Aguada since 2019. That's pretty. Oh, y él quiere decir que la gente en Aguada son. What is it? Latino porn, que nunca han visto un vidrio. Does he lie? Does he lie to people and people Google about Puerto Rico? Like, what the fuck? There's two international airports in Puerto Rico. And I had a conversation with this guy that was telling me like everyone in Puerto Rico todavía like is like sin ropa, sin comida, trying to get me to fund him, como si él fuera like un what is it that he calls that? What else? Un misionero, misionero. And then if people confront him, he's like, well, las prostitutas ilegales necesitan ropa. He's so outdated in his ideas. Ew. Anyways, what else? So I can find this if there's possibly a sign here. If I want to take myself there again. They used to have DJs. It's a pretty scenery. What else? I'm bored. Just give to me money. I'm gonna take Jaden Ginoni to Olajas next month. What else? Virgin Pina Colada. What else? What else? I guess in the way we were saving money, porque él está así since I was 2 or 3 years old. Porque yo no dormí con él, porque al otro día no le cociné algo, porque al otro día no le invité a mi casa. Times 3. So he's trying to kill me. In the meantime, he steals from, he gets in the way of me receiving money, causes my health to decline, has caused my starvation, while he fed people illegally that prostitute themselves there. Yo visit Aguada and I see people, I don't get to know them, honestly. I'm like, a percentage of them are rape babies. A percentage of them are rape babies that behave so grossly, that illegally prostitute themselves. So gross, that's so deplorable that they behave that way, because even if they're rape babies, they can excel and people tell them that. It's like you don't have to behave like the people that engendered you so responsibly and become a nuance. What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. And the majority of people in Puerto Rico are rapists, murderers, thieves. What else? I'm bored. I am bored. Anyways, I'm currently working on this. I have pods like to be at the library for like a while. I just don't have pods for what? I have pods for tomorrow for the next thing. So I wonder how heavy my period will be. Who's gifting me money today? What else? I'm bored. So I think Edgar has a meal. Recreate what he did to me. Steal my home. And leave me with nothing, which I don't agree with. So that I speak up porque el Anthony Capisano decades ago said to Edgar that He shouldn't take me to hotels, so he has a chance of like seducing me. Full. They see hotels and what else it is I was thinking earlier. Even a vehicle like a whole orchestration. They're just playing dress up all day. Is what people call it. They're just playing dress up all day. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So he also asked Aker to not give me money so I can't flee for him to rape me. Well, I was present in the conversation. Just stayed quiet. I'm like, yo, I'm never having sex with him. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. Costumes. Oh, costumes. What else? What else? What else is gifting me money today? They think that I'm gonna illegally prostitute myself or run to my dad's home. That's my dad's home. Now that they killed Gloria Nirsa, that's my dad's home. He may already have someone living with him there. People have a sex life until the day that they die. Do they want me to get in the way of my dad's sex life too by moving in with my dad? They're not retarded still, that girls. Because I did sexual exploration possibly around my parents too. It's like that pussy belongs to her now the way I saw that she gives that day. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. They're so embarrassing. I don't ruin that in my life. What else? 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 I'm laughing at anyone that would think that I would go on to fight for that. Dating is about availability, anyways, and willingness and financial stability. So I don't need to ask any of the illegal hookers that he gets raped by or rapes for permission to take him out on a date. Not even his mother. For he's so dumb. He wants to behave like he's dating this such exclusive. My siblings. That's how dumb they are. My siblings say, fuck about her. I think she should be volunteering today at a soup kitchen. And he's literally walked up to me and said, why are you at a soup kitchen today? That was Marilyn's suggestion for your date. They think that they know how Buckingham Palace works. They think that behave like Buckingham Palace. You need to volunteer today. Volunteer something, volunteer, not force. Ew, 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 ew. And then my siblings laughed decades ago in my parents' home. They went on to laugh and say, ha ha ha. Nosotros violando a Alba y a Lee. So I look at my dad and my mom like, apparently there's an Albert that's in danger. Can you call 911? I don't know who Albert is. Because they're like, wow, they're so fancy. So the siblings want to be like, si el papá muere, él la quiere entregar. And people say, un ataúd es que te la está tratando de entregar. Por bruto que eres, por dejarlo a él tratar de tomar esas decisiones. Ew, ew, ew. They're disgusting. They killed Gloria Nirsa trying to see who I will pick as a mother. No one else. I have my birth certificate. I don't need to go on to pick another mother. I'm 44 years old too. Es un afrentado. Eso va por la casa de toda la gente pidiéndole que le cocine comida. Como si fuera obligación. They're like, I saw you suck my dad's dick once. You're my mother now. Cook for me. Yeah. They're embarrassing. They're so gross. They have no respect for their parents. They're so gross. Who's gifting me money today? I miss data. I miss getting money. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss data. I miss getting money. What else? What else? I miss data. I miss getting money. What else? Who's gifting me money today? When I'm financially stable, I plan to travel, plan and meet people, ideally for your investment. I'm excited about that. I have at least 11 months left. I feel as egoist, and they're trying to put me in a wheelchair and trying to traffic me into my parents' home to rape me there. Now that they killed Lorenza. They're disgusting. They violate human rights. I get to decide where I want to live. They're disgusting. He thinks he's my owner. Look at this, and he eat people. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They're disgusting. They're disgusting. What else? What else? What else? Una pérdida de tiempo, una asquerosidad I ever wanted in my life. Ever doesn't have self-respect. It terrorizes its younger siblings and says you can't be with Arlene or I'll kill you. I was said 2 decades ago. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. There's the word concert. When I'm financially stable, I plan to travel, plan and meet people ideally fully harassment. Slightly upset that I posted a lot on Facebook yesterday, and now I won't post for a while. What else? 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 He wants to disclose that I've been raped. He's the rapist. He wants to disclose that he's inadequate, not a man, so that when people see me out there, like if I haven't dated already, people on Tinder, he's such a melodramatic pendejo asqueroso. Él se cree that when someone has sex with me, they're gonna be thinking about he and I. Es brutal. So it was explained to me decades ago. Maybe he's inadequate, and so when you're out there with someone, he wants people to know that you and he are together, but that's because he's inadequate. And I'm like, he's just not interested, not compatible with me. Because isn't he in China right now with 4 babies? So I mean, hay gente que quieren que uno le coja pena a él. Like, oh, he's so inadequate. He's not inadequate para ir a España y enamorarse de alguien allí. Un cuero asqueroso, un pendejo. I don't ever want him near me. What else? What else? What else? What else? I took pictures yesterday. And I'm posting that on Facebook whenever this posts. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want pizza today and I don't have money. What else? What else? You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money, that get in the way of me receiving money. They're just greedy, stupid. They're after my generational wealth, possibly way before I was born, trying to kill me. He's deplorable. He hires illegal prostitutes. He's been having a temper tantrum since I was like 2 and 3 years old. I'm angry at her. She hasn't contacted me. What else? And then gets enablers to steal from me. Ew. And to get in the way of me receiving money. Like, girl, he's been mad at you since you were 3. Girl, he's been mad at you since you were 2. Ew, these are people who don't age. Y son oportunistas, una curiosidad, se quedan en la casa de una, se roban los vehículos de una. They get in the way of one receiving money para ser the hottest on Tinder. Wow, qué asco. What else? I miss dating, miss technologies. Dan un asco person. Or just send a Ramire for brunch. Or to take Rosaura Soto Rosa to travel the planet with the money that he steals from me. So that he could make it work finally. Then they advertise themselves like that. So finally, we all took, and I think like this everyone that you like to be polyamorous with. So we all took Rosaura traveling out to the planet. I'm just putting that out there for if you're interested, okay? I could have been on a trip myself with my money, and he steals from me, and gets in the way of receiving money. I don't want that in my life. Don't ask. They try to do trial runs, but they aren't really. They're just pendejos, so gross. I don't ever want them in my life. What else? They're always trying to gauge possibly what is the difference behind their back. They're disgusting. I don't ever want them near me. In the meantime, I stay down, I stay lonely. Vamos con bored. I want to visit Omaha, Virginia, and Kehlani next month. What else? Who's gifting me money today? And I have fees that I need to pay. Because he thinks he's trafficking me into my parents' home to rape me there. He goes, Gloria, your son, and I'm moving there. Ramon has a sex life of his own. What else? He may have already moved in someone with him, or planning to, or just has visitors. What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. And I need a home for myself and Jaden and Kaylani. What else? Who's giving me money today? That's all I have right now. So desperate to receive money. That I'm tagging the FBI so the FBI kills Sonia Alvarado Chapman in self-defense army so that the FBI kills Mariana. I'm aiming for thousands of people to get the death penalty. I want Richie Hale to die today. I want Sammy Cortez Rios to die today. I want Jessica Reed to die today. I want Amy Bond Elizondo to die today. I want Rachel Macias to die today. I want Sarah May to die today. I want Berlin Jane to die today. I want Ramiro Gonzalez to die today. I want Marilis Gonzalez Echevarria Gonzalez to die today. I want Gustavo Cáceres to die today. I want Gloria Margarita Cartagena to die today. I want Sonia Alvarado Chapman to die today. I want whoever. Send me this message as long as it's not dating Kehlani being abusive towards me. It's separate dating Kehlani. For me to die today. What else? You can decapitate everyone that's caused my starvation for more than 30 years. You can decapitate everyone that steals my money, gets in the way of mercy. Money steals my homes and steals my vehicles. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Gustavo Cáceres. You can decapitate Cynthia Lorenzo, sa tirar una basura, una puerca. You can decapitate Vidalina Carrero. You can decapitate Maritza Lorenzo. Maritza's dad killed himself over their gross behavior, stealing from me, staying in my homes without my permission, illegally prostituting themselves, stealing my vehicles, getting in the way of my receiving money. You can decapitate. Do they get accused for that too? So I can seek the death penalty for them for Luis Lorenzo killing himself. Then I'm in. I'll testify to that if needed, that I'm a victim of theft and domestic violence and abuse. If there's proof like that is why he killed himself, and they'll get prosecuted for it. What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate all these people that just stalk me. After my vagina pictures, after group sex, they're deplorable. I don't find them attractive ever. So they join there first trying to get a chance to be around getting me. They get paid for that too, I've heard. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Lisandra Acevedo Galicia. You can decapitate Maria. You can decapitate Elisa Ramirez. I was going to the beach. You can decapitate la drogadicta alcohólica del barrio. Ginny Sandaliris de Lorenzo Suárez es una puerca asquerosa. That's how people refer to her. How did she get to Facebook? Ew, ew, ew. Her dad used to laugh at her. And Sterling, como que you believe in equality ahora. Soy la alcohólica drogadicta del barrio que se roba mi dinero, gets in the way of me receiving money, steals my homes and gets in the way of me receiving money and steals my vehicles is on Facebook. Gente. Ew, 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 ew. I'm not surprised because have you read the description of Facebook? It's meant to the community around, but thinking that they were gonna stay true to that self and that they would behave like adults. So not even when they arrive to Facebook, they behave as adults. What else? 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 I wish I could share that. I miss traveling with Jada, Kehlani, and Edgar. Just do a photo though. What else? 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 So basically, I recreated on Facebook the people that I grew up around. I added those with a few people that they introduced to me. Those aren't people that I consider necessarily my neighbors, but I suffer from amnesia and I'm a victim of them. So I'm like, I'm going to have to seek the death penalty for a lot of people that I grew up around, regardless. Parece. What else? 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 Supposed to be neighborly. And they're like, I'm not going to make it look good. They're disgusting. So this is a true reflection of how they behave grossly in Aguada, Puerto Rico. I can testify to that. Their behavior on Facebook is as gross as how they behave in Aguada, Puerto Rico. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They're disgusting. They don't understand manners. Ew. What else? What else? What else? What else? So they brought their stupidity to Facebook, a networking site. Ew, so unprofessional. And it's not my fault, like the physician of the planet, that I was born. What else? What else? What else? They're disgusting. They remain disgusting. Ew. Fo, 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 fo. Fo, fo. Serafin Lorenzo talked to Ginny Jandalides decades ago. Stop stealing from Arlene in my presence. Or she's gonna expose you on Facebook. And she said, well, just leave my hair different so people don't recognize me. So literally, it was a party. I don't know if it was a birthday or networking event. He walked back inside of his home and walked out with pictures of her. He's like, this is Zinedine Nalides in her natural look. She's a terrorist. This is Zinedine Nalides in her natural look. She's a terrorist. This is Zinedine Nalides in her natural look. She's a terrorist. This is Zinedine Nalides in her natural look. She's a terrorist. Ellos no toman nada en serio. Dan un asco. They're embarrassing. They're so gross. She's a sex addict, a porn addict, so gross. Ew, ew. So even if she doesn't drink alcohol, she's like la borracha, drogadicta de la esquina y el barrio. She's disgusting. There's no correlation of Santalasmides cholesterol deposits and drug addiction or alcoholism. Especially when I've been online saying I've been overdosing on coffee every day and I don't have any food. She thinks that she's portraying an image of me being a drug addict or an illegal prostitute. She's the illegal prostitute. It's so gross on behalf of her that she stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of my receiving money, steals my money, didn't have to even be here defending myself. In 2025, there's illegal prostitutes on Facebook. So gross. Ew, ew, ew. She should be asking her dad for money so she stops stealing from me. She's one of those pendejas que has no goals in life and turned 18 and said, where am I heading towards? People like your own bedroom and your parents' home. So she started living in my home without my permission. I had at least 4 BMWs when I was 19 that I didn't get to drive porque ella los roba todo. Da un asco, da un asco. Es una basura, una asquerosidad. In the meantime, I'm gonna shop today and eat at Central Market. Who's gifting me money today? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Steal from me, they got in the way of receiving money. You can decapitate you porque asqueroso. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Considering eating this, however, I didn't bring my bottle for water. So I've been using that as a cup. So I may eat it like near the area closer to the water fountain. So I don't have to be walking back and forth and need a lot of water to eat that. Anyways, so basically they were giving a chance to understand manners and stop stealing from me. And they showed up to Facebook as illegal prostitutes. Dan un asco. They're embarrassing. They're so gross. Ew, ew, ew. They're deplorable. Ew, 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 ew. What else? What else? What else? What else? Dan un asco. Dan un asco. They're trying to rape Jaden Kimani. I won't even entertain what it is that they say behind the scenes. Does Anchor do that? I don't know why they do that if he did that. Went on to hear what it is that they say about Jaden Kilani. If they're trying to rape Jaden Kilani. That's detrimental to mental health. It's like those people, once one classifies this as worse than illiterate, one doesn't talk to it behind the scenes. I'm bored. They're just looking for like keywords. And then they confirm. They're like, she said yes, like with exclamation point. That's like for them, it's like porn of like an orgasm. So that's the kind they don't take anything serious, such as me starving and not having money and my kids being separated from me, because they're like, oh, that was like a soft porn. Yes, that wasn't like a yes, yes. What else? What else? What else? What else? They make assumptions. They're like, oh, need to contact her, but she doesn't want her kids. I thought it was such a thoughtful message that I didn't want to ruin it. And then I thought, like, I'm not in trouble, so I don't know how to relate to that. Yes, a female and a what is it? In a male. He has both. I mean, with Nereida, doesn't he, or that more kids? I don't know. A boy and a girl. What else? What else? What else? What else? Trovo's good when it comes to kids. They're so much fun. I don't know about his, and I don't go on to find out. I just seek the death penalty for Lisandra Acevedo and David Acevedo, but I don't go on finding out about their lives. They could have been rehabilitated for years already. Some of them may be like, I don't stay in her home without her permission. I don't steal her vehicle. I don't steal her money. I don't get in the way of her receiving money. I don't need to go on to find out who it is that do them. There could be like one person in my family of origin that used to steal from me. Others may be like, we're always in Atlantis with her Uber, que no se entere ella, que ando me mamó la teta. Who? They're disgusting. So he's been like this at me. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Since I was 2 or 3, because I didn't sleep with him after I showed feelings. And I didn't cook for him the next day. I was 2 years old or 3 years old. I didn't ask him over to my parents' home. So they just have excuses of I'm angry at her. I'm angry at her. So because she didn't make an effort with me that night or the next day, I'm just gonna invite hookers into my life. So he's basically ruined his life as some telenovela act of I'm angry at her. Essentially. Because that's not real. Ew, 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 ew. Ew. I don't ever want these people near me. They find enablers. He has no interest in me. So he lost interest in me immediately, most likely. I said, like, who wants to join me in killing Arlene? Steal her vehicle, steal her home, steal her money. Get in the way of her receiving. And that's what they do because they're like, Albert está así desde que Arlene tenía like 2 años, 3 años. Que Arlene won't take him on a date. They're disgusting. Anyways, is this place opening soon or they were just there emptying it? What? I was on a bus yesterday and I noticed that. What else? I think one of my primas is in the group that financed it or created it decades ago. One of them already possibly lived in the east side and then they closed it. So I was told decades ago that if I ever made it obvious that I'm on the east side, if they had closed it, they would reopen it. Trying to give people opportunity to give me money. What else? Sometimes it just closes because it wants to. Sometimes they're like, this is temporary and we'll be back in a few years. Sometimes people are like, why did we even open this place? And sometimes it's trying to give people opportunity of there's a grocery store. While she's in the bus and she has no money for food and they're like, eso le pasa por no mamarle el pene a Andrew when she was 2 years old. Por eso ya pasa. Y que en una guagua con aire acondicionado. Y ve un supermercado y está bueno que ella vea, ojalá haya comida ahí. Y ella no pueda comer, porque eso es lo que le pasa por no besar a Albert cuando ella tenía 3 años. Dan un asco, they're disgusting, they're so gross. You can decapitate all these people that stay in my homes without my permission, that steal my vehicles, that steal my money and get in the way where you're saving money. They're disgusting. I'm never talking to them. I just need it in writing that they abuse me. That's what people say. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? And it's just the way that my brain just normally works because I suffer from amnesia. What else? What else? What else? And for the police to engage, like how comfortable they are with being exposed, with being rapists, murderers, and thieves, and they don't do anything to rectify my financial situation. They're disgusting. Ew, 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 ew. They're deplorable. They're all after my vagina pictures. They're all after my lingerie pictures. They're after my nudes. That's why they band together. They're stupid. They're so gross. Yeah. And then they think that I'm gonna talk to them behind the scenes for them to say to me, "So you're retarded pictures." I then sent them to Edgar. He had it in front of his face like for a lot of days. So they get desperate. They're like, okay, I estado mucho tiempo con Edgar criando a muchacho. Guys, so here's the plan. Aquí está la mía. Eso es lo que hace ella, una puerca. Ella viola, es una asquerosidad. Ya coge gente de ring, es un asco. And then they confirm, and they're like, well, si la ven por aquí, y este stalks her, y este, porque they study patterns of other people in my family of origin being abused. So they're like, oh, just steal Arlene's money, steal her home, steal her vehicles. Eventually, if she's with Edgar in San Antonio, she'll possibly get to a nightclub. And Jorge Aviles can, what is that? Can stalk her, or David Ledesma. What else? What else? And yes, I did laugh at David Ledesma like working a garden. I'm like, he couldn't show up as a guest. Ew. That's a huge red flag. It's like, why is he so aggressive and he works there? I'm like, he's stalking me most likely. I didn't remember him ever. I don't ever think about them. Ellos se dan importancia en mi vida. Possibly talk about me every day. Ew, esta cuero asquerosa had stayed in my homes without my permission when she was like 5 years old. That was decades ago. She's a 20 something now. And she stalked me in Nordstrom. ¿Por qué? What else? I'm bored. What else? I'm bored. Anyways, decades ago. What else? What else? I need to buy Thanos later. It's got to be money. What else? Missing money. Where is that picture? What else? I'm bored. He's mad at me for not taking him out on dates since I was 2 or 3 years old. So he's like this. Kill me. So people will say to him, stop stealing from Arlene. Give Arlene her money already. Give Arlene her home. He's like, no, I'm angry at her for not taking me out on a date. Dan un asco. These are people of adult age. Full. Ew. And then Alex participates and I'll help you kill her. I'm like, you can't do that. So people have guessed that Alex will get the death penalty first because he's not even a part of the conversation and he's being an accessory in trying to kill me. It's like you have to be a man even if they threaten you. What else? They just find it amusing then. So this asquerosidad was stalking me in Nordstrom para que cuando yo la viera, I would say, oh my God, I have a husband at home, literally like this, waiting for me since I was like 2, 3 years old. That I need to get back to. Bye, Kayla, do the job here. Wow, Nordstrom. Me voy con mi amiguito. Or behind the scenes, it must be like, do you know how much money Kayla has in the bank? And she's working at Nordstrom and you have no money. And today I took care of that Maserati of yours. Porque it's always a Maserati that they want to, or that I cry. Some people cry Rolls Royce or Lamborghini, but I truly, personally cry over the Maserati que me robaron the most. What else? What else? What else? People laugh at that. They're like, look at her about to cry. For her vehicles that this tío nene ya no llora así por ti. He's on a power trip since I was 2 and 3 years old. Like he's angry at me that I haven't taken him out on a date. He's gonna let me die. And he's of an adult age. He's disgusting. Ew, 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 ew. In the meantime, where can I get me one of these? So he wants to mock me that the closest that I, compared to have been to a Maserati in the past years, is the baloney that que me regalan at the soup kitchen. Angry at me since I was 2 years old and 3. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you for not taking me out on a date. And steals from me para darle esto. Dame un asco. Es bruta, como que new. Hey, grandma, I painted this. And the grandparents be like, I'll buy it for like whatever I want. Es bruta. There's no such thing as a new artist. She just wants to sirvo como mujer. Porque ella desde los 5 años o antes lleva mamándoselo a quien ella cree que es mi marido y no lo es. So they create poverty onto one and then they create these stupid answers. I'm like, this is a UTSA graduate from arts people. No le entró para nada la educación y anda así con el college degree. ¿Vieron la foto en Instagram de la graduación? Me reí un rato, me reí un rato. Él las viola y luego le dice, Eileen would have loved an art degree. Why don't you get one? So they're possibly in the wrong career move if they want to get out of illegal prostitution or they have no goals in life, apparently. And then he mocks them with this type of answer. It's like, but don't you get it? You got an art degree thinking that you're Arlene. And that's the answer that you gave to someone? A regular person? Asking you about not asking you because she was forced to. It's how they speak. I've witnessed this abuse before. Like I was trafficked into this conversation, but let's just say that she asked you your opinion about art. You just got an art degree from UTSA and this was your answer, Kayla? I want Kayla Barnes to kill herself today. Is possibly why isn't he trying while he's angry at me? What else? What else? What else? What else? Porque even I am a fault if I were into illegal prostitutes. I wouldn't want these. Like illegal means that you can exchange sexual services for money, but there's a reason. It's because this stupidity exists. Si hablaran fino, la prostitución podría ser legal. Is what people say. It wouldn't be needed porque si hablaran fino, then no la cogerían de pendeja. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So here's Kayla Barnes that, according to her Instagram picture, graduated from UTSA. What else? What else? Oh, I think I remember her username. I'm gonna kill himself defense Sunday. This in the hall. It's her profile public. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Tagging the FBI in this post, NATO, Interpol, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Justice Department of, in the United States International Criminal Court. You can decapitate Caitlin Barnes that stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money, and suggested that I illegally prostitute myself. I don't know. I have no money for food. That's capital punishment. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. So she says to her friends, no, 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 I'm just with him because literally, like, Arlene didn't take him out on a date that since Arlene was like 2 or 3. And they talk about me like I'm their best friend. So that's why they get close. They traffic one into work. And they're like, I'm here with Arlene. Like, finally, I know her. And I know her panty size, her bra size too. What else? 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 Didn't I congratulate her on the degree? Possibly. So she was with Alvaro Coachella porque Alvaro is like this. I'm mad at early. I'm mad at early. They're just raping people and people are letting themselves getting raped. Girl, you need like 3 more to get hotter. Pero at least is making the effort. No one thinks. And it's not even my child. What else? 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 Has an art degree. I think I saw the. Is it there? The degree. What else? What else? I'm bored. Went and bought herself a home with her boyfriend. As soon as I said I'm about to be homeless, I sent her Berenice and Sarah. I'm homeless. Not remembering that they stay in my homes without my permission. But I'm like, if I'm this poor, it's their fault, or they're like very gross families that they come from. Then I'm struggling financially still with 2 beautiful kids. So on Facebook, she posted a few days later that she had a home, a letter home. They do that. They suggest that they're like, Kayla, this is your time. Get a home. She's gonna kill herself. Because I already witnessed one of my relatives be like, seriously, you got yourself a home, but you steal from me. And now I'm the one getting evicted? What else? What else? What else? What else? So when I saw the home, I'm like, ay, another scheme from Bellaquito, Bellacoso, más asqueroso no puede ser basura. Y las putipuercas que le hablan y se lo maman. So this Kayla girl, they must have already gotten to talk to her, my siblings, because I was following her on Facebook. So they possibly went on y hicieron una colecta. Or she did that on her own and went and got herself a home para que I beg her to stay with her so that he can pleasure himself. Ew, porque es un animal, una asquerosidad. Like my 2 babies there, Kayla and Arlene. And then I'm gonna Photoshop myself on Kayla's pictures with Arlene. As if I'm Kayla, so if Jade and Kayla are there, like they're dad, right? Yeah. Look who has the home, gente, and I don't. Pero because she's an illegal prostitute. So that's what they want to imply. Guess who went on a vacation in 20 something and I didn't? The illegal prostitute that steals from me. What else? 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 Guess who went on a vacation and I didn't? Dan un asco. Sometimes they don't even post about their personal life and they're like, they're disgusting. They're so gross. Ew, ew, ew. I remember where I saw what is that? The degree, but I think it's an arts degree. I think it was on Facebook. So, anyways, you can decapitate Kayla Barnes and or her mother too. To stay in my homes without my permission, steal my vehicles, get in the way, save money, and steal my money. I don't want him in my life. He's been obsessed since I was like 2, 3 years old, and no se quedó conmigo esta noche. Mañana no me va a cocinar algo. Mañana no me va a invitar a su casa. I want her dead. He could have initiated sex with me. Es tan bruto, he goes on to us, y que la prostituta ilegal for advice, que no lo va a dejar ir, that wants to belittle him, that wants to make sure that I suffer for her to get like all the sex. Dude, I'm on my period having better sex than what the illegal prostitute has. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So he went on to ask my siblings, and my siblings are like, "No, don't touch her. Don't have sex with her. We want her." Like as if like we're like a Queen Elizabeth and Charles and Harry and Camilla and like Evans. We want Arlene to get a virgin, to have sex with a girl, have babies. Él me lo metió en un baño, and I'm like, Edgar, ¿sabes quién me lo metió? Tu amiguito, que you're like always rooting for him en un baño, like, so I visited la casona. Y me metí en un baño, like, with con tres también. What else, what else, what else, what else? What else, what else, what else, what else, what else? Porque Edgar isn't my owner. There's no such thing as owning a human. So he missed out if he wants to say that on having sex with me for listening to ill advice from people that don't mean well for him, that don't mean well for me, but they have titles of siblings. La prima, el tío, la vecina. So that's why he's like, you my old monkey and chips running around. Okay, you're not the people that give good advice, but why does he listen to it? He wants to kill me, apparently. So that was laughable. That he's like, I won't have sex with you because your siblings want you to get to have a baby with a girl while being a virgin. I'm like, it's not asking for him to rape me in my bedroom, anyways. So I'm like, he makes no difference in my life. What else? What else? What else? But my sister's desires for me isn't what I do with my life. They just want to pretend that they're Queen Elizabeth and Charles and Harry and Camilla, dictating rules for people. And those people don't even dictate those rules for each other because there's human rights, there's respect. So they think that they're like royal. Que la hermana decide. Literally, I felt so disgusting by knowing them. They showed up, these two, no Carlitos, with Richie to my bedroom, Jorge Javier, y get to say goodbye to my vagina before I had babies. Un espectáculo asqueroso. On behalf of my siblings, they said. I'm like, I'm not asking you to do this. What was I, maybe? Or I was like 5 years old, and I'm like 14 years older than him. Like, I'm not having this baby yet. And they're in my bedroom, like, well, your sister said that we can't, like, play around with your totita so that you have babies with a girl. I'm like, huh? Ew, Jorge Vilas was so annoyed. At 5 years old, he's like, I don't need to see it later after she has babies. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. So él pasa por la vida por ahí así como que está casado conmigo, but he isn't. Oh, puerco, una basura. They're just recreating telenovela acts and raping people. Okay, he has no place in my life ever. He tries to go to my vagina through my siblings or my parents. So disgusting. There's no formality there. He just knows that I find him deplorable. So he finds a way to rape me by taking people hostage, by following advice from my siblings that don't mean well for him, que se burlan después de él. They're like, nunca va a ver la Totalin, nunca le va a ver a la Totalin, nunca la va a llevar a una cita, nunca la va a llevar a comer. Y a mí me ha llevado tantas veces a bailar. Wow. That's so they don't get accused with the police of rape. I've heard. I have no interest in them ever. They're so gross. So without asking me for permission, they went on to say goodbye to my vagina very grossly. Porque I was about to have babies with Baker. I didn't have dating Kalani until I was 25. But I think that was when I was 19. What else? What else? What else? What else? Él se invitó al crucero that I was attending with a gang, possibly to imply that he was there when I got pregnant of a girl. No, he didn't. Dan un asco. They're stalkers. They're just gross. Ew, 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 ew. I don't ever want them in my life. I don't ever want them in my life. What else? What else? What else? I was money. Anyways, I have a lot of posts on Facebook that I typed in last night. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Oh, that. So I believe Lorenzo Acevedo's trying to kill me to attract Edward James almost. Porque didn't she see in a bio or something that he's Latino? Where is he from? Or what? Against what she does. And they don't go. So that she's doing, look at me. I understand what Latino culture is by trying to kill me. What else? What else? What else? They invite people to orgies. That was the talk decades ago. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm a state in this country. So even if because I refuse to have sex with her, that she'll steal from me. She gets in the way of me receiving money. She's the nice sister. And she goes on saying, "Other sister, give her my money." Did she give her some money? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? And then I'm always gonna be poor, even if I have children. And they're like, okay, we're on it. We'll steal the home, we'll steal her vehicles, we'll steal her money, we'll get in the way of her receiving money. Porque yo todavía estoy así enojado de aquella vez que when she was like 2 or 3 years old. Y yo pensé que me casé con ella y ella ni cocinó para mí el día siguiente, ni tuvimos ánimo en esa noche. Dame más beers in the silver. Anyways, I want a vehicle for myself. What else? What else? What else? Who's gift? What else? What else? What else? Today, I don't like the top down. I think this one's pretty. This one's very pretty. What else? What else? What else? What else? But I want like 5 of them. Different models. Possibly this for the unicorn. What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, I thought I was sharing this time. Already, as I'm speaking. Who's gifting me money today? You can decaptivate how many daughters and sons that rape me, they steal my money, they get in the way of my receiving money, they steal my vehicles, they steal my homes. They're stupid. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They're trying to pretend that Hawaii Chiquito everyone is to stay little. So even where human rights exist, they violate rights, they rape, they steal, they murder. Because the place where my dad is from, wasn't there when I was born, it's called Hawaii Chiquito, which just means that it's a small tree. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They're disgusting. They're so gross. They're disgusting. Ew, 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 ew. They're disgusting. Always with an excuse to kill people. They're disgusting. What else? What else? What else? Who's gifting me money today? I want at least 3 or 4 of these. That was pretty. What? He's waiting for people to laugh at me? No. For real, he's wasted my time for that. He's caused my starvation thinking that people are gonna comment. All those influencers that he pays to be on Instagram are gonna be like, girl, you don't even have money for food and you're asking for a vehicle. Ew, they're sex addicts and they're porn addicts. So they traffic people and rape them. So they cause my poverty, my starvation. Plus, they have so many people behind the scenes. I imagine that's why I don't go talk to anyone. So he thinks that people are just gonna comment, and then he's gonna be like, "Well, I'll buy you one, and I'll take you on a date," and that sort of disgustingness. So those. And then there's my siblings that they're like, we want to see how the ignorance of Instagram that will comment that, or the ignorance of Facebook that will comment that. They're disgusting. Ew. I want to order food for myself today. Who's gifting me money? I have enough to be like at the library today, but I hate not having money for pounds. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate how many sons that rape me, that steal my money, that get in the way of your saving money. So that since I've been like 2, 3, and 5 years old, I've been like this. She's gonna take me on the date, so I'm gonna kill her in self-defense. married people, if there's a divorce for that, not killing, they're very dangerous. They think that when people, instead of getting a divorce, they just kill the person that doesn't give them sex because they saw that on a telenovela, possible. And they're porn addicts, they're sex addicts, so they don't mind going to jail. They're very dangerous. They're so gross. They've been trying to kill me since I was possibly before I was even born. After my generation, well, they're disgusting, but they think that there's no divorce. I'm bored. When the Captain Maria de los Aviles, the one on to lose my virginity. For me, this isn't a man. He's like, la sobrina ya en una orgía me dio un orgasmo. Esa es la que voy a llevar para la casa conmigo. En vez de Arlene, es mi casa. It has my name in the title too. I haven't ever been able to stay there alone one day. Porque he's like, ¿qué sabes tú? You're just a little kid. Decades ago, I said to him, if that home is from the sales of the artwork, from you and I painting together, I'm not moving in there with you ever. I suggest that you don't even have the home built, or that as soon as the home is built, that you have it sold and give me my portion of the home. And he said, "You're just a minor. I don't need to listen to you." And he thinks that I'm gonna take him out on a date, and he pretends that he's married to me. Ew, he's deplorable. He's disgusting. I'm bored. Anyways, I'm reading this. I'm starving. Who's gifting me money today? I need to clean my apartment. Ugh, there were roaches in my kitchen last night. Ew. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Well, he's bragging that like el mama el pene doesn't have roaches in her home. So that's why he steals from me. They're disgusting. I don't even have food. I don't even have money or energy to hire someone to clean my apartment. And then he wants to be like, that's considered cheating. No, it isn't. Es un bruto que me está tratando de matar for no good reason. Possibly just after my generational wealth. He's disgusting. Ew, 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 ew. That's not grounds for killing a person, hiring someone to clean one's apartment, or having Uber food delivered, or exchange for bid. That happens to me at HEB. Where did those acrylic go? What else? 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 Dan un asco. Hoy está él en el Grand Marnier celebrando que yo estoy llorando, ¿no? Y que no tengo dinero para comer y que nadie me lo puso en la vagina. Es un puerco, es lo peor que hay en este planeta. Es una basura. I'm never taking him out on a date. Ew, ew, ew. It's so deplorable that I'm having to tag the FBI literally online and be like, can you talk to him and say that I'm never taking him out on a date? For real, dan un asco. They're disgusting. What else? What else? What else? Él es un puerco. He hates my kids before they've ever been born because Edgar's parents are like so gross. Pero Edgar isn't towards me. And when I had that baby with Edgar, I just had it with Edgar. No, with his parents too. Da un asco. They're disgusting. So they thrive in que right now él está en Rusia con su esposa. He said, baby, but are you reading this chisme of my family origin? They're so disgusting. You get poor and crying over babies being separated. That was in 2020, most likely, no? Because some people have allowed me to be online every day still poor without giving me money just yet for me to expose the faces of he who was possibly in Canada in 2019 saying, oh, she's poor and we have a better marriage than her. Vela en unos meses. She's gonna be crying because she has no money and her kids are gonna be separated from her. Baby, you and I have the best marriage. had people rape me just because they were around me during my toddler exploration years. He wants to make it a permanent fixture of my life because they deserve a chance. No, they don't. Ew, 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 ew. And then he gets into le molestan phrases. What else? 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 And people say nene, so for the most part, people are smart. And when they go on saying to someone, well, he deserves a chance, the person hearing the advice will take that into consideration. That's it. Pero it's the person taking the actions decision ultimately. What else? 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 I'm bored. I am bored. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Él no es el que tuvo un bebé con Edgar, fui yo, él no le tiene que importar. So he steals from me, trying to make them look even worse than they already are. That's why I don't talk to them behind the scenes. Okay, he wants to expose how gross Jada and Kehlani's grandma is. What else? Él no sabe just live life e ignorar a la persona. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. Who's gifting me money today? I want to order food. Oh, those are pretty. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Did he say to one of his girlfriends or boyfriends, maybe it's her English. Maybe she doesn't know English and they're like, she's typing in English. They're that dumb. Sometimes decades ago, they create smoke screens. Their gaslighters are the worst. Every fucking stereotype that they hear about women, they're like, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, they're rapist and a thief. That's what it is. It's disgusting. It's so obsessed with telenovelas that it wants to hear me being like la villana o la víctima. Es un asco. Es un puerco, una basura. But I'm tagging the FBI in this post and seeking the death penalty for him. And I hope, I pray to God that he kills himself tonight. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Lazy and time waster. That's what that is. It's so gross. Ew, ew, ew. Decades ago, my dad said, boy, based on my daughter's demeanor and my standards, tú eres un vago y con esa actitud nunca vas a llegar a ningún lado con mi hija. What else? 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 When was that? When I was like a year and a half. What else? What else? What else? People talk to them out of advice to see them do well. No escuchan. It's like you don't want someone else out there to call you lazy. So this is what family is for. We're calling you lazy porque you're being lazy. You're just like, este se besó con esta porque no tiene un hijo ahí narrando durante una orgía. Es like, si tú no quieres estar, quédate calladito en una esquina y ya. Decades ago. Diablo, de esa manera que se besaron. Doesn't understand manners. Wants to force me to have sex with everyone that was in orgies when I was a little child during my toddler exploration years. Wants to kill me because I won't let him rape my children. He said that to me decades before Jada and Kehlani were born. Or at least a decade before Jada and Kehlani were born. Si lo que va a la orilla a narrar, esos dos se deben casar, wow, son machos y se deben preñar. And people are like, that's not what an orgy is for. Stop interrupting the guest. And you're a guest yourself. If you're not enjoying the time here and you're observing things, say that to yourself. Don't say it out loud. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. So he got labeled as a terrorist, lazy by my dad, and my dad rather see me starve, seeking the death penalty for him, and I mean for Ramon Lorenzo. Then me being happy right now, shopping and dining with Janine Kanani. What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Ramon Lorenzo, that gets in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Benjamin Slaughter's sons, the sons that rape me, that steal my money, that get in the way of me receiving money, that pay illegal prostitutes to stay in my homes, that steal my personal vehicles and my personal homes. What else? What else? What else? What else? Don't ask us on else. What I don't ever want them near me. They're deplorable. Ew. When I'm financially stable and plan to travel, plan to be ideally polyamorous. I keep checking my email inboxes to see if I receive money. What else? What else? What else? What else? He wants to belittle me and say who has a better vehicle instead of me now that I'm poor. Huh? Él literally va dando premio a la gente, me mamó el pene, te mereces el carro, dale. Me diste un beso en la boca, mira, 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 este ganó lo le pertenece al link, pero you're the winner. What else? They're deplorable. Where is a ship for days nearby? I think they're in San Antonio. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I didn't plan to date, not upwards. When I arrived to kindergarten, I'm like, definitely when I get to college, we're gonna go holiday on these people. It's disgusting. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Unless I travel a little bit when my parents take me to a party where I'll like run into someone that will be cute. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Ew, they have to school suggested to my parents, and they're so vulnerable. They're like, she's so beautiful, does the right thing. We want the best for Arlene. So they're like, we're so nervous. We don't know if we're doing good or right. Yolanda's like, well, sign her up for school so she can teach my nephews how to be men, her husbands. Like, I'm not married to them. Ay, qué lindo. Míralo. Iba camino al almorzar. Porque he was way older than me, at least three of them. So I was just there. I'm like, ay, qué lindo se ve. Porque literally out of like hundreds of people in the school, I'm like, there he is. Pero not like I'm married to them. I'm gonna give it a baby by tonight. Have him put it in the ass. Cocinarle. I'm not the marriage type. It's not in me, anyways. It's not in me. They're trying to force me into being something that I'm not. Ew. So I would be like, oh, mira, qué lindo este. Oh, there's those other two. Qué lindo son. But not like those are my husbands. Ew, ew, ew. They ended up terrorizing me, saying that I was interrupting them with illegal hookers, that they rape and get raped by, that they have a hate crime towards me. What else? 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 So gross, and they went through that. They went through with the hate crime towards me. Ew. Porque they're sex addicts, they're porn addicts, so they don't care if la tipa está. Te voy a matar y ese es el José, mi prima, so tú no le puedes ni hablar. And they're like, Arlene, 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 that's my wife. That's my wife. She's giving me head later in her own bedroom tonight. Don't interrupt. I'm going to kill you. What else? 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 I'm like, waste of time. I color with my big crayons. I think they were Sargento, not Crayola. But I had Crayola at home, so I said, why does this? So that was. I wasn't like, I want to take this guy out, fly it to Paris. I'm like, it's not deserving. It's. Ugh. La juntilla que tiene da un asco. Ew, 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 ew. So my only complaint that first semester was like, seriously, I want Crayola and not Sargento. Crayons, when I have Crayola at home, so whatever. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. Who's gifting me money today? So I wish them well back then. I didn't think that they would go with a hate crime towards me. I don't ever think about them. What else? Who's gifting me money today? What else? Definitely the sandwich. What else? What else? What else? I'm not sure for myself today. You're gonna compensate me how you saw this on the sense I rate me. That's the only money that can annoy me say money. There's no such thing as first dibs on my vagina or so gross. It's the only money to date them. They're the worst. Second cousin stereotype. I gets obsessed with one because one is Miss Pretty that behaves well out of hundreds of people that exist in other parts of the planet. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? And then it gets jealous that another man's gonna have one and it isn't. But then he doesn't want one either. Es un asco, eso no es un hombre, una basura. Ew, 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 ew. Ew, ew. Qué asco. Ew, 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 ew. Shroom rosa. I'm bored. As a coach decades ago to not talk to them because there's no reason when there's food available for me to not have money and be able to eat. They're like, no, 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 no le des dinero que Rosa ahora quiere reírse de ella behind the scenes. What else? 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 And so I'll marry her like I already did. Oops. We planned this hate crime. They're spokespersons. We planned this hate crime towards Arlene before she got pregnant with Edgar's kids. We didn't know that her being a rape victim, she would be able to have kids. You're gonna decapitate Jennifer Bonilla. You're gonna decapitate Maria Luisa Rosales. So they want to show me themselves eating more money for food while they steal from me. I'm bored. I'm bored. Who's gifting me money? Me mama el pene. Y me deja metérselo en el culo. Must torment Arlene first before you all give her money. With Arlene no tener dinero para comida y ella está riéndose de Arlene, guys. This part of the program is understood as a sense that rape me, that steal my money, that get in the way of raising money. They're so disgusting. You can decapitate Rosaura Soto Rosa. This steals from me, that gets in the way of me receiving money. This stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles. Es una puerca asquerosa. So they lure one in with this. I don't think your family wants you to starve. Like, dude, I'm starving. I don't have money. They want me to starve. So I'm asking someone to give me money. I hope I never regret all this. Seeking the death penalty for her. Bravo to myself. They think I took that as a threat? Wow, she's already stealing from me so that I starve. Trying to lure me in with being like, mira qué plato de comida tan bueno y tú no tienes nada. Haciéndose, she called me. Oh no. Like, qué hipocresía, esta asquerosidad. They just try to gauge like how much one remembers of them stealing from one. I was speech impaired, and I never think about them ever. So I didn't say like, I know you're stealing from me, or you still steal from me. They don't matter to me. I mistake, I misconstrued for all that bug. You can the prince that fakes to be Evelyn as Lorenzo's husband after my nose and my vagina pictures. They're disgusting. What else? Can't post on Facebook. But I'll post this when I can post on Facebook again. How much money do Benjamin Suarez and his sons have that belongs to me? That she steals from me? That she gets in the way of me receiving? Ew, 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 ew. They want to try to keep kids weak, or they want to gauge like how much do your kids know of the abuse of us towards you. That's what they were doing on Facebook. They're always gauging. Yes, my kids need to know that I'm a victim of abuse. They're stupid. They're always planning on killing one. So they're like, the kids can't know that we exist as a hate crimer towards Arlene, because then we can't kill Arlene. What else? 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 They're disgusting. They're disgusting. I'm bored. Anyways, es una bruta, una puerca. This got a college degree. Recently, when she talked to me, todo fue, no le entró para nada. Ew. Pero I already know that I have a sibling that's almost a doctor in education y no tiene nada de educación. Ew, she uses that to rape people. They're disgusting. They're so gross. Ew, 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 ew. I don't think I can post on Facebook right now. Who's gifting me money today? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I am bored. She has her mother behind the scenes, la tía, la abuela si está viva, ready to verbally abuse me for them stealing from me and me being hungry in group chats. Ew. Dan un asco. Dan un asco. They're deplorable. And my siblings are waiting for that to happen. They're like, pero si es que tenemos aquí a toda la familia Rosada. Alguien que le diga al link que venga a decir hi. You know who hi? They want to bully me so that I kill myself for being pretty and be Miss Goody Two Shoes that never does cocaine. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. Oh, I need to check. I'm bored. I'm just here waiting to check my PayPal account if I receive money. I've never conditioned Jaden and Kinley to give me money, so I'm not gonna be me roba mi dinero before you and I were born. Buy my pads for my period, please. Because they're trying to take down my children from dating, and they're trying to turn Jada and Kehlani into legal prostitutes like them. They're disgusting. In 2025, ew, you can decapitate Maria Luisa Rosa, you can decapitate Jennifer Bonilla. That's God, they're disgusting. So they go and then they want to try to turn one's kids into one's parent. Did you witness that decades ago in my family of origin? Do they burden Jada and Kehlani with, what do you think about this about your mom? Trying to turn Jada and Kehlani into my parents so that they look like the hot girls on Tinder. What else? I'm bored. Can I post some notes? Yeah, awesome. I mean, it's just. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I just. What else? What else? What else? They want to see me humiliated. Like I'm not born. I have 2 kids. So I gotta get more nonsense. ¿Cómo está la situación económica en Puerto Rico? CNBC. Puerto Rico. Finances. It's in the youngins. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I am bored. This is so slow. Porque Igor and I made that commitment to have kids, and people are amused at the stupidity. What do I mean? Like, you want to shut up and talk. What does that really say about our babies? What? I'm bored. I am bored. What else? I'm bored. A lot of people stay single forever. That just like was attraction, and then my parents keeping me on track with that commitment too. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So there's your ella quiere decirme que soy mamá para los otros días. Que hay como malditos ayer. Que diga de eso y que la China desee todos los días. They're just after my vagina pictures and after my laundry rooms and my notes. Because of these to make her laugh and be like, so tú quieres no puedes hacer. Like her decades ago. They're like, pero nena, when you got on that bed, pero como que tu rodilla hizo como que algo, yo no sé. Like a rabbit. Everything in a person's life, and they don't have enough time, so they kill. Oh, that's what they kill too. But there's so many people, they want to know every minute about their lives. So le dan dolor en la cabeza. I would have been making money, but it really is. A regular job to me is like my fullest potential. Also, only getting paid in the millions, CEO somewhere. What else? 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 And with home, sometimes we want like $300,000 in a place. What's the highest paid CEO? Where does Warren Buffett live? At home they bought for $30,000. Bill Gates drives a sewer. How's it? So one can't get attached to that. He only drives a sewer. $160 million. Then I would have reading. How much does MZ get paid? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What's that other realtor? I saw when civil Texas. Homes are sometimes like, what is those places? What is it? Armadillo and then they have like $1 million homes. I didn't know about it until after getting I bought a home. Insurance. Oh, they trafficked. Coincidence, a realtor que ya parece que me había violado. Or it's after trying to. What else? What else? What else? No sirve. No sirve como realtor. I said I need a second home, an apartment right away. They're meddlers. I'm not gonna see them. They're like, Andrew has been since you were 2 and 3 years old instead of Marilla Miller being a realtor. Andrew has been like this, mattering since I was 2 for not giving him dick or a date. So I must kill her. They go want to get jobs for that dick. Ew. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. What else? What else? What else? There are new homes in Seattle, Texas. No, I think. What is Ashton Woods? Is Bella Vista one from that area possible? Or is it so? That's cute. And home prices have gone up since I bought that home. When else? What else? This is true. I like Megan Singing thing. What else? What else? What else? Las Castorella. A lot. So, oh, that would be cute. That kind of matches what Edgar has in Wesley Chapel if I were to move. Which I think in money to familiar area where they live here with Edgar and me. That would be good. I wonder if they would. They adapt really well though because they're used to staying at hotels and never complain, but I've never taken them to a random place. So, what else? What else? What else? Is it all en suite? What else? What else? What else? There's a home that shows up in my credit report. That isn't mine. Pero he stole my money. So he sold the home insurance. stole the money. Is he getting the death penalty for doing that stupidity? To remind me that these people steal from me. So I think he has immunity to do so, and I haven't been hungry for more than like a few hours a day. That's food exactly that I asked for. So I think that if there's immunity to do so, or it's theft, either way, it carries on like the next purchase that he makes if he uses the profits from the home that he sold onto the next purchase. So there's a home in Wesley Chapel that shows up en uno de los dehashments porque they're like slow like this. ¿Y que tú crees que eran esta piscina? What else? So many people that they're like they are overwhelmed with the amount of people that they want to know everything about people. Down to the panty drawers. He's been in one of my where I live with Acre, wasn't he? Decades ago. For what purpose? Estamos con el 26. What else? What else? What else? What else? I've been so cute. So shirts. They're so hard. They're so far my favorite. What is there though? There's a shopping center. Is there a dentist there that I visited already? What else? 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 Come back this ish. What else? What else? What else? What else? I didn't let them terrorize me. Let me move. They see the arts residents and they're like, eso está ahí hacia mí. Entonces flaca y lo vieron gracias a mí. And people are like, you're not Arlene. Like, stop taking credit for like other people's projects. Motivation using. They try to possibly kill me without knowing. Do they rape Mr. Vega? Do they rape Mr. Vega? And he hates me. He'd rather I starve with the way that these people idolize me for being as good as she was never as good. Porque they've possibly raped Mr. from los otros murals saying, si alguien se muere, yo voy a ser la modelo en ese Hyatt, ¿verdad? And they all compete for that. And turn out to be Gillispie's. Who wasn't even alive when I was talked about that? So in 2020, I thought, like, who is it? I mean, there's a hotel that they're building. Who is it that needs a nude from me? Like, stop. And possibly the embarrassing that I'm a victim of such crime that doesn't want to approach me and say, I need a picture of you. Oh, but Mr. Vega possibly gets in trouble for saying, yeah, you don't have one that you can send me. And they're like, they label marriages. Sometimes they're like, how come you were married to that so many years and you don't have one nude picture of her? And he'll be like, she had her pussy on my face the whole time. I don't need to see her from far away. So Edgar may have been directing because he knew. He may be like, well, check with Ravinez. Check with Michael Norman. Maybe even the Ledesma. My mom. What else? What else? What else? What else? But it has to come from me, like my willingness. So I'm like, I don't know who this goes to, but I'm like, on Instagram, art is art there. Because that is Because they tried that decades ago with the and I typed, I'm like, I'm not talking to anyone about this. Como que art is hard. Why am I a victim of abuse? So I'm like, there, at least some people saw it. It'll get to the right person. So the mural at the Moon's daughter looks like Keilani with my tatitas. But it makes up first. It looks similar to Arlene and Keilani. So they also do tryouts of who do you know in Bernie that looks like Keilani Arlene and never suffers. So they're like, Fulana, can you just stay there? We'll take a picture. So that people like this don't kill me and obsess that the person on the mural looks like Keilani with my tatitas. But all of that gets discussed as it's happening. They're like, if you hear that it's about some other girl, it may be me anyways. So they're like, just in case, porque if they go on in, people give the answer also sometimes gaslighting, angriness. How is it that she's poor and that mirror looks like her or her daughter? And they go on like it's not her, like because they don't want to get hurt. Some people are very aggressive. They're like, Emma, I don't need to show you my text messages. Pero mira, there's this conversation. So there's this girl, Bernie, and she's so pretty. Never suffers a day, not a victim of theft. Trying to give them the lesson of stop stealing from Arlene, so they talk to each other behind the scenes, I've heard. Sadly, sometimes I'm like, you shouldn't do that if you must. Because on what I witnessed, then slightly temporarily, they obsessed with that girl on Bernie that looks like Keilani and me. And they're like, oh, she has a perfect life. We must destroy her life. People are like, I'd rather live, starve, and die. Porque I truly never suffer. And I was approached for this project because I truly never suffered. And now I have stalkers hating on me because my life is still perfect. And it shouldn't be. Porque there's a Linda suffers. And they try to become advocates of one. They forget that they steal from one, that they get in the way of one receiving money, and then they go on hating on all those pretty people on Bernie que se parecen a mí. Or a Keilani or Jaden, and saying, well, why are you so happy and she's suffering? What else? 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 Did I think I need to do? I posted it very. I posted so. What else? What else? What else? It looks like my wedding ring that I picked with Edgar. Two-tone gold. And there is a picture that looks like Keilani. From today. This is a picture from today. I picked up at school and I said, let's head over to In-N-Out Burger. I never let Keilani or Jaden use their phones at the table, but I'm like, whatever. I'm not even gonna go on to hear what they say. Children don't get separated from their mother because they had a cell phone at the table. So behind the scenes, esta caca, secret, asquerosidad, rosa, abrazo, rosa, basura. To be saying to people, well, I got in the way of her receiving money because her, well, that's bad manners. Bad manners de que esta tipa tan asquerosa se queda en mi casa, me roba mi vehículo. Gets in the way of me receiving money. Es una puerca asquerosa, una basura. These people of illegal prostitutes. They're so gross. I don't know. I wish him well. What else? What else? What else? What else? Anyways, oh, what was I looking for? A picture. Dating Kimani. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Here's the picture of today. Looks like her to me. Looks like her to me. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What are those based on conversations that I heard while I was growing up? And then I love when people offer a drink. What? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Where are those pictures? Well, maybe if I just search for the most others. What else? Or did I just search for the mural? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So I think that because they were part of conversations about me decades ago that were besties when we were. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Anyways, so cute. She had her own water. Oh, it's right there. What else? What else? What else? What else? She's so pretty. Anyways, if they picked an actual model, it's really pretty. Every once in a while, I'll just bring it up as a memory. What else? I'm born. So that was in 2020. So I need a home for myself, Jada and Kignani. So I don't mind staying in the civil area and making it simple. For myself, Jada and Kignani, there's a Walmart there, nearby. There's IKEA nearby. There's some Marcos. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. This is cute. What else? There's what else? What is there in the community? Oh, so they think you should. I think you should shoot them already. Behind Arabia stealing money again. The way we say money. They're bigots, so they steal from me. And they're possibly trying to force me to have a conversation with him and be like, okay, Arlene, but before people give you money to buy a house, you need to walk to every neighbor there. Say, is it okay if I live here? Because I didn't have a set of grandparents while growing up. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? He's deplorable, tão poquita. I wish him well firstly. Um dia querer madurar for himself, not for me ever. Bro. What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I am bored. There's a high school in shirts that has really good reviews. I consider that. Yeah. What is that place? Or if King Lonnie wants to live there with me. What else? And there's other communities in that area. Saddlebrook Ranch. But there's another ranch. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Oh, it's having a swimming pool and a play skate. What else? I'm bored. Need to eat. Yeah, change my pad on my period. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? bored. It's like need to visit a dentist. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What? I'm bored. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What is the name of that house? What restaurants are nearby? There's a pizza place. There was a dessert place that closed. Las 33 Jorge Villas. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm like, you rape me. We're gonna hang out at our today. So I was like that annoying rape victim that's like, I don't know who you are or what it is. I had met him already. Like, I'm a Boas, and I'm like, I'll just get out of my vehicle. If he wants me to leave, I'll leave. So I sat next to him. I think, did I order fries for myself? Possibly. It was at the bar. And then I left. I said, I'm leaving. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, pero that's mocking then. For if he cries, they wanted a baby with me. It's like, dude, I could have met you at a bar instead of garden where you chose to rape me and possibly took all my news that I sent you and conversations and sent them to everyone out there. They act like one doesn't know how to speak. There's so girls. And when I get cheddars, I remember that. New Year's Eve, Jane and Molly were with me. And I ordered food from Cheddar's and then it was a wrong location. It was like at a different one and I didn't pick it up. It happens. What else after that? Also, I've been to Garcia's. What else are dating? What else? What else? What else? What else? There are plenty of hot men around the Air Force Base, but I'm not there for that purpose. Oh, so now I know where this is. Over there. I wouldn't want to live that close to a shooting range. Mom, Isabella said, I am bored. Actually, also, what else? I don't want to be at that place. But I know what that is. Anyways, I can look for a community on the other side. So it's another ranch. It's not Saddlewood Ranch. And there's more homes instead of them. I want to order food for myself from another side right now. It's good community. What else? What else? What else? What else? I don't need to remember Andrew Suarez. I don't need to remember Jandel. What else? 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 These asquerosidades. Still one in the way of one receiving money. Weren't even born back then. And then they live obsessed. People like Rosaura Soto Rosa. ¿Sabías que ella y Jandel? People like, eso fue solamente una orgía. Y sabías que ella y people like, eso fue el primo segundo and they were just fooling around y ni la quiere. Dan un asco. Oh, that's how I take it. Like, just fooling around. What else? 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 I'm bored. Let's get to me. Anyways, I'm taking my phone with me near the water fountain. I forgot to bring my bottle for water. So, using this to get water.
What I was going to use on we had neighborhood associations, and they had this one of our, would it be okay for me to set up like? I mean, he has all these requirements.
We're gonna look into things that, well, I'm hard to get with you.
But no, I'm saying he would bring his own, all his own stuff.
Well, that would do.
So he would have that kind of refreshments that he would have here. Say, listen, if you use this area, then, I mean, we can have refreshments over there, do a table. Yeah, I mean, we can have like,
This would be going on.
yes, with tables.
You know, we could actually set up tonight,
Can we do that?
do that now.
Because anybody,
And let's see what happens now. Anybody come in. And we start with this, Yeah.
yeah,
So,
What else? About to use the restroom. I'm letting the pod see for so many hours. It holds blood for many full. What else? What else? What else? I just posted on Facebook. Who goes the roast towards me? What else? Yeah, gotta go. I'm bored. I'm Digo la palabra pandemic outside of social media to others. So by this, and I roll my eyes and I said, like, really? Someone wants to be the first one saying pandemic? What else? What else? What else? What else? He's deplorable. He entices them in drug and prostitution rape. Esa es la que vale más. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm starving. I'm just I'm bored. It's good. We'll throw back from Facebook a while. That time that I visited painting with a twist, I don't like copying other people's work. And I don't like red for those colors, but I like to. But I tried it. I was dress. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I possibly got that one at Target. I love the length of the dresses, the maxi dresses at Target. Out of them, I always end up finding one or two or three. Well, without altering, and they're not petite. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Lord. I'm bored. Let's give them money. Okay. And I want to order food for myself. And I want to shop in New Bronx. So what he does is he found himself in Carlson today. And says, pero mírale, por eso yo lo hago. It's innate into my brain that if money exists, I want to shop and not get a handout. So él es tan afrentado, tan cafre, basura, por eso somos incompatibles. Then he goes on to find Ike Byung for nice and beautiful. That's his taste, not mine. Then I'm Pelambera mode, and if they weren't, he makes them lose their inheritance and money and trust from daddy so that they can expand. And he destroys them, I heard. They're like, oh my god, what did I do? Like, I literally, but the parents are paying attention. They're like, honey, when you want your trust again, I'll start giving you your own money again. But some of them just start working at Walmart or McDonald's saying, well, I need to work my way up into facing my parents and say I was that dumb to give up my inheritance and my money, my trust for that guy that enticed me como si fuera una aventura. Que le dijo, pero mira, Arlene ahí con un brasier roto. And Catholic Charities and Stevens Care regalan tanto brasiles. Like eventually those people are trying to go away. so that everyone has their own system. Like there's people that stay because they're like there's people forget their wallet. There's victims of theft. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? But ideally, those places shouldn't have to exist. What else? What else? What else? What else? So él me quiere enseñar posiblemente que esta misma semana, after I posted this dinero, that él se encontró ya una novia que yo se lo pedía de tiempo. Y le llevó a San Steven Scare y compró brasieres. Y le regalaron brasieres. So now I want to live my life. What else? What else? What else? What else? And more. Did I bring my phones from my period? No way. Did I get them off? Sorry. What else? Oh, I have them here. What else? Who's gifting me money today? What else? So what they're implying, trying to imply que Marilyn's making enviar dinero. So por eso a mí no me Marilyn se queda en mi casa, se le trepa en el penny y say, when Arlene isn't here. And he's like, well, because how would Queen Elizabeth and Charles do? So for decades still they're playing how would Queen Elizabeth and Charles do? And how would dating be at Buckingham Palace? How do they find people to date? Who gets an invite there anyways? Or what does one wear with the invite? Instead of being like, if I don't like you, I don't talk to you. What else? What else? What else? What else? And then find opportunity where opportunity is given. It's called dating. It's not a thing que las americanas solamente do. Damos las cosas. Those Americanos get on birth control. You know, so no puede meter everywhere. I went on birth control slightly for like a month or two just to try it. Then I didn't die of a side effect either. But it's birth control, not seduction tips for the illegal prostitute, rape victim maker, sex addict, porn addict. It's birth control. They're disgusting. Oh shit. No.
This makes it easy for us now.
Yeah. And so we can set up. Well, actually, I thought it worked out too.
All right. We'll-
I would say, we have a table.
And we would wheel some tables out of that.
Yeah.
Out into it. And it's this, this form, right?
Yes. We can move that,
But from like over there.
like over there.
Now, you know, together, we're 120 years old. So, we can, but look what we can do. So we used these last year.
No, we did, we actually kind of set these out to the side.
So, do we want them completely out of the room?
No, I would say, we could set them over here.
Okay.
You'll have to do it.
It started already, it started. So let's see, do we have room to squeeze?
Try to get that right here.
And there we go. We can make it sound about that.
Yeah.
Um, to tell you the truth, a lot of companies that have, like, y'all shouldn't have to be doing it. Because what happens if my boss or mother dies? And I don't know,
This is water. I have a chemical fall. Asqueroso. Se cree que yo voy a coger advice a un pendejo asqueroso that's trying to kill me. Y él me quiere regañar and be like, that's our long distance relationship. She's starving. I said, but baby, you should have brought your bottle of water. Like the obvious. They want to state the obvious. Well, they steal from one and keep one hostage. I've heard. I've never allowed it in my life for that reason. And they were like, but baby, yo te quito el codex. Oh, there, I have sex with her. Ew, these people possibly acquired through Snapchat thousands of men and women. Bleh, que le están quitando el códex todo el día. raping, rape culture, nunca sacan una cita y los entusiasma. One day, because they're sex addicts, they're porn addicts, they're so gross. So I've heard of people that just go on giving their Snapchat account to everyone and then wake up to thousands of good morning posts. And they think that those are valid when they aren't. They're deplorable, they're so gross. I don't ever want this near me.
I'm getting juices. And coffee, yes. I forgot we have some. What is it? Oh, and I'm gonna get it paid. Because she said she wanted, it says she didn't already get it. And then I would say, see, it's always something tricky about reimbursement. We don't pay sales tax on this. Okay. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to think. So what we go do is,
Eso te quiere enseñar a través de mí todas las que están tanning, ¿no? Y yo no. Porque le mamá el pene como si ese pene fuera tan glorioso that one can't live without. Él es un asco, un puerco, una basura. Él se emociona todavía cuando ve ese me salir de su pene. Ni de manicomio. Death penalty worthy. Since they turn 18 and 21, I've heard. And based on my own experience. Uno got emancipated at 16, that's up for you to decide.
these are the same size, the ones that they are long.
I'm bored. Who skipped me money today? What else? Anyways, I'm checking my bank account again. Let's see. What else?
Can we do that now? So I
What else? I'm bored.
yeah, this can go in this corner.
It's not live anymore. The difference in what a difference. 11 years ago, I was at a date night. What else? That was offered through the chapel. I'm like the first space. I always create other people's religion. But I said, do I gotta sign this up for that? I feel 110. He's like, sure, why not? It's like we could possibly be like a leadership example frente a tanta cuero que but I don't say it that way. My favorite was like that laugh through marriage. That guy. I saw him at, where was that? BLA Air Force Base. There was free childcare for Jaden. So I left him at the CDC. And again, I attended. Dinner was provided. It was a video that I watched, not the live show. What else? To where I said I'm unhappy as I'm fine as it is. But it was because I'm polyamorous and a victim of theft and amnesia. So I said, okay, well, as long as you're happy, I'm happy. Like I had already made that commitment with him to have the second kid. So that's what they do. That's what they say. They're like, I'm happy. What else? What else? What else? So I wasn't like ready to flee at any time tampoco. It just happened to be that when Kehlani was in preschool, I'm like, I wonder if this is time. Like, I didn't want to wait until them both be in college for me to date people. So I started to take myself to Dormat, to where else? Shopping in Tampa. Where is the other place? A little Stigato. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. But I didn't meet anyone. Very lovely people that I saw. So that was like what, 2014. I got very depressed when I saw Gloria Nirsa look like so dirty. So I started taking like several right after. I said to her, ugh, I don't ever want to end up being that lonely. Okay, I don't require dating, can only have ever sticking to me like for the rest of my life. They have, I didn't breed them to take care of me or be there for me 24/7. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Who's gifting me money? What else? I'm polyamorous, so I was stuck in a marriage of he and I having babies, which was very much fun. In my presence is a very good dog. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. Who's gifting me money today? That's my checking account. That's my savings account.
Oh, I see what you're doing. I see what
What else?
Okay.
You can decapitate rate me to steal my money, that get in the way of your save money. That they're after my vagina picture. They're done with each other. They want to see how Jaden King on left it if it was a vaginal birth. They're disgusting. They're deplorable. They're deplorable. And then they have all the people that have seen my vagina picture. They stick together for that shit. Cyrus Pena hates them, and people are like, why do you even talk to them? And they go on to confess in one's presence. They're like, well, have you seen all the hot people that they bring to orgies? What else? What else? What else? What else? So they're always bickering, but then like, oh, I met someone in an orgy. That's sex trafficking. They're so gross. Ew. I'm bored. What else? So is Disney was dead? I imagine she and Jorge Javiles, who was last before David Ledesma to ask me for a baby, we're behind the scenes already conferring. We'll pretend that you and I are wife and husband. And then we'll say, Arlene, but why did you even have sex with Jorge? And then Arlene kills herself. Right, Jorge? What else? What else? What else? What else? They're so gross. They're deplorable. They're disgusting. They stick together looking for people's vagina pictures. They're disgusting. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I have a lease with Villas at Eco East for the next 11 months ish. At least who's gifting me money. And I have fees that I have to pay. What else? What else? What else? What else? ASAP. Not next year. And I don't want to get evicted. I don't want to be in a homeless shelter. They're trying to traffic me into a homeless shelter in retaliation for not letting them have sex with me. They're disgusting. Ew, esta gente da un asco. She stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicle, steals my money, gets in the way of me receiving money. Se cree que yo le voy a dar un premio mamándole la tota en agradecimiento. Da un asco. They try to rape one. They get obsessed with one. They think that they're me. Or what's so special about her that he asked me to pretend to be her? They accept that shit. Ew. Ew, ew, ew.
It's like last year, right?
What else? I have plans today. I hate it. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They're disgusting. I don't need to go beyond this. If I go, then they go on to find my vagina pictures, my lingerie pictures, nudes. They're stupid. They're stupid. They're disgusting. Let me tell you what's going on.
It has to be at 60 in my apartment.
I'm bored. I'm bored. Skip to him.
I'm from here.
Anyways, there's no such thing as first lips of my vagina, so I don't know why my family virgin rapes for the most part. Ew, ew, ew. They think that they acquire one. A lot of people from birth, and then one can't escape ever. My siblings are that gross. They're like, why can't we just pretend that we're all married? From your birth. I have nothing to talk to anyone. People that I don't have a relationship with ever, that I don't ever plan to talk to, that steal from me, that get in the way of me receiving money. This. Oh, these posted. Wanna tell me fun date night? What else? What else? What else? What else? So I'm literally like carrying as a slugger like a 1-year-old that knows how to drive, knows how to dress, knows how to cook, knows how to put his penis somewhere. And every once in a while, my health declines with me exposing like I have a stalker that's like a 1-year-old that wants to try to pretend that he's in my life when he isn't. And he fakes being in marriage with me. So that he doesn't hurt me and my children that I had with Edgar. I have to do the pony and rodeo show of being patient until people give me money. While he organizes his thoughts and says, oh no, she's not what I want and I'm not married to her. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? That's like I'm not married to this ever. I don't even want it in my life. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want food for myself today. Just possible. What else? I'm bored. So basically, some people want to know. So besides that party that you were dating in 2019, who were the other guests? And do you have to introduce them, or they could introduce themselves and they have to be so deplorable that they steal from? So that you talk about them while you're starving. Terrible guests. Worst guests at an orgy. Worst guests at an orgy. What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Bored.
Is this better?
Who's gifting money? I'm staying in San Antonio for a while. There's like a lot of places that I want to
For
visit.
some reason, it's not letting me upload it at least.
There is a lot of places that I want to visit that I want to eat now. What else? What else? What else? to Puerto Rico, I'll get to Puerto Rico. So I want to visit this year. I want to visit the beach. What else? What else? What else? They think that one illegally prostitutes themselves just to get to the beach. They're not deplorable. They're that disgusting. That's why they steal from one. They're disgusting. So gross. Ew, ew, ew. Ya me lo imagino. People say, does he have family in law? That he's like, so I tried to date her, but her parents are terrible. So I had to kill her. Hoping that she'll date me. He stole my homes, he stole my money, he stole my vehicles, and things that if he feels good, he's not gonna go running towards him porque vio eso en la novela. Or people with unhealthy habits in my family wouldn't behave that way. What else? 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 I want nothing to do with him ever. I don't want him in my life ever.
Yeah, you said 1 to 5 dollars.
What else? What else? What else? When I'm financially stable, I plan to travel, plan and meet people. Ideally, polyamorously. I'm excited about it. What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I am bored. So I'm waiting for people to give me money to the PayPal or to my GoFundMe, to my bank account. I had to cancel my GoFundMe campaign. I don't have cell phone service anymore. I don't have money. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. You can look out the table for me, so the sun is the sun. That raped me, that steal my money, that got in the way of same money, that killed Gloria in retaliation for her not taking them on a date. To my knowledge. He wanted me to be the daughter, the youngest daughter that raises her mother. It's like Gloria doesn't need raising, she needs self-care. What else? 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 He thinks that he gets to decide my life for me. Un pendejo, he tried to get in the way of me having kids with daycare. Es un asco, una basura, un puerco. Y yo es lo peor que hay en este planeta. I don't ever want him near me. Me da un asco. I don't ever want him near me. What else? What else? What else? What else? I want to visit Jaden Killen in Tampa next week because I have to be money. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I am bored. His hurt.
Hey,
What?
I'm just here. I'm at the library. I was trying to. I locked myself out of my basic folder, and so I have to call them.
So he listens into my videos y le quita la novia de que me está hablando.
Classes are on Friday. I mean Monday.
That's what he's doing, no?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was going to, but
Awesome.
I don't know. It slipped my mind, and then I thought about it.
What else? What else? Because they're stalkers. They're porn addicts and girls. Ew, ew. If it isn't stolen, now he already knows.
So I just started making
What?
it. Now that I'm not gonna.
No, school. He thinks that I'm gonna take him on a date. Ew. Oh. Ew, 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 ew,
Oh, actually,
ew.
I ask you a question.
Ew, ew, ew. No, school. Ew. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else?
Oh, well, I mean,
What
I'm
else? Oh, do they pass the egg so te dejaba salir solo?
Oh,
They do backtrack that shit too. They don't put any effort in what. No, that's what they are about me. Egger, so ella no era celosa. She didn't go through your phone ever. Y yo me quedé con la illegal prostitute. En vez de llevarla a la cita, la illegal prostitute siempre está dando acá. que tú dijiste ahí, y a quién tú vas a contratar en vez de a mí, y yo te mato si tú haces eso, y no, y esto sí, sí, sí. They need like a whole orchestration, their erectile dysfunction is what people say, that they need a whole orchestration to get an erection down muscle. Ew. So they possibly fistulate girl and then are amused and cry to a relative. Ella lo dejaba salir y no le chequeaba el teléfono. What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm bored. What else? I am bored. What else? I don't let them pester me with questions. I have no answers to anyone. What else? What else? Gary possibly listens to them. Trying to gauge what else they've stolen from me because they brag. They're like, ja, a ti te dejaba salir solo. Yo le robé otra casa y violé a otra persona. What else? What else? I'm bored. What's good for anybody? I'm looking for the word drama. Who's gifting money today?
We put like, consensus, and, doing all that is not enough things.
What else?
Yeah.
So. Just whatever, I mean, 'cause we got 2
I need to clean my apartment and don't have money for food. I don't have energy to clean it. What else?
Because it's not quite work until they quite work me. I don't have to, I'm still going to take a look.
I missed student money on shopping today.
Like, I'm going to take the videos at the lab, but I'm not.
What else?
I feel like it's gonna,
Basically, I've recreated the people that have me hostage financially and me saying everything good that I want to do for myself. And he's raping me, possibly, if he watches this. So, girls, someone warned me that this could happen. That I would get to that image of him and be saying, I want to eat. I want to drink water. I don't have money for food. That he wants to kill me. Fucking not even money for food. Makes him wake up from raping me in his dreams and stop getting in the